Okay, folks, so it's 9 a.m. Eastern. We'd like to go ahead and get started with our webinar with Dr. Rainer Pushpa. And Dr. Pushpa, it's a pleasure having you with us today, and thank you for doing this. It's a very timely topic. We've had a lot of interest. I'm going to share my screen real quick to show you the KM Institute website and where we will house this video, this webinar, and others like it at kminstitute.org, the KM Institute website. All you need to do is hover over the media section, and this is where this webinar will be and future webinars like it, hopefully more with Dr. Pushpa. And you can check back there for these webinars. So feel free to do that. And if you ever have any questions, just reach us at the contact area, and we'll be happy to help. Okay, I'm gonna switch back over to you.
Okay, so thank you, Eric, and thank you, KM Institute, for the opportunity to talk on knowledge management, digital workplace, and how it is becoming more relevant during COVID-19. So quickly about the expectations, minimal understanding of knowledge management concepts will be required. Some idea should be there. 45 minutes session followed by a Q&A. You can ask me questions in the end because currently it's disabled, so in the end we'll have a Q&A session. Quickly about myself, I'm a knowledge management consultant and researcher. I've been working on this field on knowledge management for the past 20 years, worked across multiple companies. And recently I took the plunge and started my own consulting firm, doing consulting on knowledge management. And I work across academia, development sector, that is large foundations and all that, and corporate sector. We are present across UAE, Singapore, and Switzerland. And what do? We build leaders and winners out of organizations. We help organizations stay efficient and effective through knowledge management intervention. So that's us. So what I'm going to talk today, I will be talking on some aspects, as I explained earlier itself. I'll be talking about why knowledge management is becoming more and more important during the COVID period and post-COVID period, and what approach you should be adopting. Okay. And what I will be doing is that I'll do it systematically. I'll first talk about what is work, how work gets done, what is the relevance of knowledge management here, and how COVID impacted, and what should be the approach that we should be adopting. Okay, so that is what I'm going to talk in this session. And let me straight jump into the slides. So when we talk about work, what is actually work? In an organization, anywhere you look into it, or any kind of a scenario that we have, when work is done, basically what happens is that there is an input that happens, and there is a throughput, and there is an output. There is an input information that is required to do any kind of work, for us to start any kind of work. For example, for us to wake up, the input information is time. Similarly, if there is a receptionist in a hotel, the input information for her is a request for a room or something that comes, right? So there is an input information for any work that has to be done. And there is a throughput where we use both information and knowledge to work on that input and create an output. The output can be a product or a service, which can be a part of a product or a part of a service, and an information of completion. Across any work that is done in an organization, this is what happens. And typically in any organization, work is done by human beings and machines. What we are going to talk about is about human beings. Okay. So when I say input, throughput, output, I mean the way human beings work. Now let us look into a typical scenario, how work gets done. So you have, if you look into this kind of a quadrant, you'll have in the x-axis simple work to complex work, and the y-axis it's like individuals and teams. Any work that you look into where the humans are involved, you can basically classify into these four spaces. The simple work where only an individual can do it, this work, okay, when we say simple, it is kind of, there is limit, all the problems related to the work has been resolved. There is not much of information our knowledge, information required, or the information that is required is more or less standardized. You know what kind of information you look for. You don't have to ask, even think about what information I should be asking for. And the additional knowledge requirement will be limited. For example, simple example like a driver, a Uber driver going from one location to the another location. That's a simple work done by an individual, can be done easily. The only information the driver would need is where to go. And while the driver is driving, the information with respect to traffic and all that. This is a simple kind of work that has been done. Then we have simple work done by a team. So when I say simple work here also, the work is completely understood. It's completely routine kind of work. You do not have to think much. All the problems related to the work has been resolved. But here you'll have multiple people working together. Okay. So for example, piloting a plane. A plane cannot be flown by a pilot alone. You have multiple people coming together and helping the pilot. Okay. So the information requirements are high, and that would need a lot of work coordination, right? And teams will also have to team will have all the knowledge required to do the work. It is not like the pilot is figuring out how to fly the plane. Everything is figured out. He just have to do his job. So this is a example of a work where the work is simple, but a team is required to do the work. Okay. Now, sorry. The third scenario is a complex work where the individual can do it. For example, architect or a lawyer, where the information requirement is not well defined. Okay, probably they do not know what information further I should be looking for also. And all the knowledge with the person will also not be there. So this is a third kind of scenario where I am working, but I don't have all the knowledge required to work. Okay. These slides, I'll check with Eric whether it can be shared with the participants. Eric, there was a question in the chat asking whether these slides will be shared. The third kind of work is where it's complex work. So the lawyer working may not have all the knowledge or information, will not know what questions to be asked also, in the case of an architect also. Now there is a complex piece of work. What in the case of complex work, what happens in the case of a complex work? In the complex work, there are a lot of people involved, huge coordination requirement. You do not know what questions to be asked, whom to talk to, who has got the information. Very velocity of information knowledge required also is huge. Okay, and it completely depends upon the timelines also that you have picked up. So this is the way you can classify a typical kind of a work that is being done across organizations to a large extent. Okay, and this can be happen. These work can be happening in any kind of industry. You can think of any industry, straight from oil and gas to a retail kind of a segment. Any segment you look into, you can classify the work more or less in these buckets. Now, what are the information and knowledge? How are the information and knowledge needs met? Okay, so this is straightforward. A simple individual doing a simple work, their information and knowledge needs are not much, and standardized tools are there which can give you the information, because you know what information is required and you will get that information. In the case of a team that is working a simple work, they will have automated tools for coordinations and team meetings and all this, because you know what is required. You just have to bring the team together. They pass on the information with each other. Remember, knowledge is not to a large extent, there is no challenge with respect to knowledge. The challenge is with respect to only information getting shared across, right? For example, a project may have a simple building construction kind of an activity, or a pilot piloting a plane, and the information we will be looking for will be in front of his panel, more or less, or you may have to talk to the ATC, that kind of stuff. Everything is probably perfectly available. You just have to pick the information or give the information so the next team can run with the baton, that kind of a situation. Now going to the third one, where the information, the work is complex. Definitely the person would want to talk to the colleagues. The person may not know what to talk to the colleagues, but want to talk to the colleagues. Will go through the journals, ask questions in social networking platforms or communities. This person's requirement is to have a rich support system where they can look for information and knowledge on a regular basis. And the fourth one, obviously, the support system should be very good for that person, right? The person should be easily able to access all those information knowledge that is required. Okay, so this is the kind of a scenario that any organization looks into, and your knowledge management systems should be very, very powerful in this area, where there is not only a deficiency in information, but there is deficiency in knowledge also. The team in the complex area, they will be regularly looking for information and knowledge. They will be completely stressed with respect to information access, right? So this is how work happens in any organization. Now, I'll just give you some more examples of the information knowledge challenges that we face, right? I mean, this is a very interesting study that was done by McKinsey, I think quite a few, I think around 5 years back, where they were showing the extent of time people spend looking for information knowledge. If you see, it's somewhere around 33% of the time. And as the complexity of the work increases, as I was showing in the earlier slide, the need for information knowledge goes higher and higher and higher, because that team will not have all the information knowledge. They will be looking for other people who got that information knowledge. And if you look into it, an average employees would spend around 5 hours looking for information knowledge in these kinds of scenarios. And when it comes to a new employee who's into this kind of scenario, the time taken shoots up, it doubles, more than doubles. So I'm just trying to emphasize that in a physical setup, physical and an online setup, this is the kind of requirement. Most organizations work in a combination of physical and online setup. And you want information and knowledge not only to coordinate your work, get your doubts clarified, but you need to have, you also look for information. You also look for informal information just to socialize in an organization. And this is a critical piece. Though this is a piece that most of the time is overlooked by, say, for example, a CIO or a technical team, this is the most critical piece, because this is the piece where it connects an individual to the organization, where your culture builds, right? You socialize, you go through the grapevines, you know where the organization is. When you're stressed up, or you have some worry about your work and all these things, this is the place where you go. It is kind of the cooler of the organization. So this is another type of information knowledge that is required. Now, how do we meet our information and knowledge requirements? Okay, typically these are some of the ways that is being met, both from a work perspective and from an informal information or knowledge gathering perspective. Now, what happens is that the work coordination tools are used along with physical, okay, and in person. So, for example, we are working on something, you may use the work coordination tools like Microsoft Teams or Slack or any other tools like there are a couple of more tools where you will be using those tools like Jira and all that to coordinate the work. Along with that, you'll have a physical interaction also going on, right? Similarly, you'll have team meetings which are physical and online. You will have informal meetings which are mostly physical in the case of organizations, group discussions and all that. So this is what happens. These are the different platforms that gets used in an organization for employees to do their work. So if you try to reflect, what is happening is that there is a physical space in an organization, and that physical space does a lot of services, gives a lot of services, okay, which we have to be aware of as a knowledge management expert or a project manager. We should be aware of what the physical space, the services that the physical space is providing. Okay, and these are the kind of services that is providing along with the online systems. Okay, now what happened, the post-COVID, what happened? Everything went online. I'm not mentioned KM repositories, all these, because they were already online, and part of the work coordination or majority of the work coordination, depending upon the kind of work, as the work becomes more and more complex, your work coordination tools kind of its usage comes down, and you try to use physical or face-to-face discussions and all that. You prefer a more face-to-face, a richer interaction with people. So uh, post COVID, when the most of the work was moved home, okay, what has happened is that all your interactions, all your platforms through which you are looking for information, knowledge, went online. Everything went online. So here, if you look into it, what I was showing you earlier, work coordination like physical and in person, or team meetings which are happening in online, or the group discussions and all that, or brainstorming sessions, when the complex kind of work is happening, you need to find out, you need to keep on talking to people, pick their brain. That is the kind of situation, because your work is very complex, the problems have not been solved, so you need to interact regularly. Now everything has been pushed online, everything is online. Okay, now what is happening as a result of things getting moved online? Okay, your informal discussions is almost cut off when the organization. So what happens when you must have observed your project managers, your CIOs and all that, they will be looking only into these aspect of their work. How do we ensure that the team works? They will be looking at, okay, do I have the work coordination tools? Am I allowing my teams to have proper meetings and all that? But to a large extent, this part of the system is more or less missed out, which is the key piece from a knowledge management perspective. More very critical piece, but this is completely cut off. So what happened? What is happening? What we have seen is that informal discussions are not happening, and very interestingly, KM repository usages have gone up a lot. Okay, people who are sitting at home, they, because they are, see what happened when people, when because of COVID and when people moved their work, the organizations moved work to home. What happened was that everyone has got a knowledge and information requirement. When I work, I have a knowledge and information requirement, and when the work complexity increases, when I will not have all the information knowledge, I'll have to reach out to my team members and all that, right? So that kind of a situation happens. So, but when the work was moved to home, that kind of got cut off. So my information and knowledge deficiency drastically increased, in the sense I always had that information knowledge deficiency, which was catered by the physical environment along with the online environment. But when I moved to completely online system, it completely uh, broke that, and my information and knowledge deficiency drastically increased. And because that increased, one of the areas that I started, or the employees started going, is this, the KM repositories. They started regularly going into KM repositories, and they started trying to find information and knowledge. Okay, uh, your group discussions drastically went down. Or I will not say drastically went down. I'll tell you what has happened. Now, the organizations who had a mature knowledge management system and mature knowledge management platform and a culture of sharing and collaboration, very good repositories, they were not impacted, because when work was moved from, when this part was cut off, okay, your physical space went off, your online space was mature enough to handle and give the services that the physical space was providing. But as you are, as you may be aware, because you must be, I mean, most of you are working on the KM space, uh, organizations, when the repositories are not maintained properly, or when the KM is not mature enough, these kind of impact starts happening. This social networking platform, though it is available, people are not able to use it. Units of practice are not mature enough, so it is not able to cater to your information knowledge need. Similarly, even though people are regularly coming to your KM repositories, because if the KM repository doesn't have all the information knowledge, it is impacting the work that is getting done. So now you are seeing the way kind of things are moving, right? Now we are in an era, or thanks to COVID, I would say that thanks to COVID, the importance of KM is drastically increasing. And this is the time for us to leverage and help organizations understand the importance of knowledge management. Okay. So now the scenario is like this. We did a small study. So emails, usage of emails went up, obviously, because people, this is one of the communication platform. So we did a study with across a couple of organizations, trying to understand how these challenges are when working from home, how the employees are getting impacted, okay, because of their knowledge and information deficiency. And we were not surprised when we came to know that communication is becoming harder. Okay, waiting time to find info is longer. Okay, because earlier it is easy for me because I just need to walk up to someone and get the information knowledge, but that person is no more there, right? That person is virtual, and that person has to see your message and then come back to you, give the information. You may have to spend more time to give the contextual information. So that kind of a challenge is happening. Difficulty finding information in terms of access and how fast you can access your KM systems. If it is not properly structured, you will struggle. Employees will struggle finding information. They will find that a lot of information is missing or not available. Okay, and I will share that. I will you ping me, and through Eric I'll share you the study report that we have on remote work. Uh, so there was a chat, and I responded to that chat question. A lot of files in network not available. Okay, search on SharePoint is not robust. No people finding. I mean, organizations have ignored their content management system and all that. Now people are realizing the importance of it. And when they come to the platform, they are not able to find the information, and they struggle because they feel that the SharePoint is not robust enough, or search is not robust enough. Probably the IT team or the KM support team was not pushed at the time when things were fine to build the search engine in a way that easy content could be found out. The metadata was not built, but now they are realizing that we have not done it, and it is impacting. Informal interactions have completely or more or less died down if it is not focused on. Because as I said earlier, the project manager or your CIO or your leadership team will only look into how do I coordinate my work and how do I conduct team meeting. Beyond that, and where do I share my documents, project documents. Beyond that, they are not looking into the finer uh, uh, aspects that are not easily visible, but visible to only to a large extent a knowledge manager who understands how work is getting done. And this is an obvious one: social isolation. To a large extent, social isolation starts happening because people are not connected with each other, and too much uncertainty. So if you see too much of uncertainty with respect to future, why that happens is because your social interactions are coming down, your informal discussions are coming down. You are only getting work related information knowledge. You're not understanding how the industry or how the company is going. You're only getting or hearing that there are a lot of layoffs happening or something like that, but actual picture you're not getting. And to a large extent, your informal network is a shock absorber for all these problems that happen in organization. That is completely disrupted. Okay, and a lot of calls. I mean, this is something that I've heard a lot. People are now doing more work than they were used to do in the office, and this is obvious because your information knowledge deficiency huge. Time is taken to make decision. Project manager cannot make decision because his or her information deficiency is there. They are not able to understand clearly what has to be done, so they take more time to gather that information and knowledge to do the work. Okay, and as a result, work is getting stretched out. So this is kind of the situation that is happening. And as I said earlier also, this is not a common scenario. Organizations which have got a mature knowledge management platform, mature way of bringing people together, a very good culture of sharing and collaboration, will not find. For them, their virtual space is providing the services which their physical space is already providing. It was just a transfer of a baton. That's it. Rest of the things is happening fine. But these kind of organizations are minuscule because very few organizations manage their knowledge in an intelligent and good manner. Okay. Now, so which kind of work is getting impacted the most? Okay, the work where simple work but team is involved, and complex work. More than the simple work, the work where which is complex is getting impacted the most because the velocity of information required, knowledge required is high. They need to talk to each other on a regular basis, interact on a regular basis. It's huge. Information knowledge flow is huge. So I get an input and I have to bring an output out. In between that, the information knowledge required to work on that is work on the requirement is huge, and that is where the whole impact is happening. So these companies working in this area are facing a huge problem, and to some extent in this area also, but here the impact is more from a team coordination perspective. If I can coordinate my work properly, you are saved here, but this part is going for a toss if your knowledge management system is not properly managed. Okay. So as I said, organizations would have very vibrant knowledge sharing and collaboration and exhaustive knowledge base could easily move work to home because their online systems were already mature enough and were in a position to provide the services that the physical system must provide. Okay. Now, what is required? Okay. And this is something the very obvious one, but I'm just putting it. Effective work coordination. Okay. You have to help in effective work coordination, information and flow, help employees get the information knowledge that they are looking for faster, and build a culture of or enable informal mentoring. Okay. Now, these three together in a combination to a large extent will help you build an online system that can provide the services that a physical system is giving to you. Okay. And what would involve that in this platform? Systems that help in easy work coordination, provide easy work. This is very critical. Systems that help in easy work coordination. For example, when as I was telling you, when work coordination is nothing but easy transfer of information, okay, not knowledge, easy transfer of information. The knowledge part comes when you do not have the knowledge and you have to reach out to people. Okay, work coordination mostly happens at the information level. Then when you have a doubt or you have some clarifications and all that, you need to have access to platforms which can give you different kinds of knowledge and all that, and where you can go beyond your immediate team. You will not look, for example, in the physical spaces, you will normally go beyond your immediate team also. So this is where something that is required, and social networking platforms help you go beyond boundaries first. So organizations who already have built a platform like that are kind of in a much better position. Then you need to have regular updates on project status, success stories, client requirements, facilitate informal communication. So your virtual space to a large extent would have to mimic your physical platform from this perspective. Okay. So now again, I'm showing the same thing again, where what I'm trying to say is that, okay, effective virtual platform, this is nothing but this is your digital workplace. Okay, this is your digital workplace, and in this digital workplace you have all your tools, HR systems and all that available. Along with that, the systems that help you work properly. Your HR systems, your operations tools and all that are important, but what is most important are these pieces that will help you work properly. Okay. And in many cases, as I was talking earlier also, this is the piece that typically a project manager or a CIO or a delivery head will understand. In many cases, they will not understand the importance of this piece. And this is where the knowledge management practitioner should help them understand why they need this entire piece, and only then you will have a digital workplace, an efficient and effective digital workplace. Okay. Now, I'm taking an example of Microsoft. I'm not promoting Microsoft here, but since they had a more, proper, I could take multiple examples from there. I'm giving an example of Microsoft here, and how this would look from a perspective of organizations who are using Microsoft tools. So, if you look into in Microsoft, you have the enterprise content management piece here, where you have all the contents available. Your work collaboration platform is here. Your enterprise social networking platform and your communication platform. Together, this kind of has got the elements that will help you build a virtual platform which can mimic or which can provide you the services that a physical platform is looking for. But I would also like to tell you one thing. Technology is only one part of the solution. That is only probably 10% or 20%, because all the failures of KMS happened because of sorry, people. All the failures of knowledge management has happened because companies thought that if I buy or if I license KM tools, that means I am practicing KM, and we all know that it is not true. It is only 20% of knowledge management. You need to enable the platform. For example, your enterprise content management system should have all the relevant content properly structured with all the KM gaps closed. The audit, you have to do a KM audit on a regular basis. You need to do a persona analysis. You need to do a user analysis on a regular basis, trying to find out what kind of information knowledge they require and understand the gaps and close the gaps. So your enterprise content, if you don't do that, people will not come to you. And that is only one piece of it. You need to have a governance mechanism for people to for ensure that the enterprise content management systems are updated on a regular basis. And is that enough? No, that is not enough. You have to keep you also ensure that there is a culture where people come and use this platform on a regular basis. And for that, there is a cultural change that is required on a regular, where you ensure that people come here, they get the relevant information also. It works something like this. I come to an enterprise content management system, I don't find the content, next time I will not come. But if I come, what I'm looking for, I get it at the first instance, then next time I'll come. So that is something that is the key piece. And then the second critical piece is your social networking platform. So social networking platform, again, as I was saying, just licensing something like Yammer or Facebook Workplace or Tibber or any of the social networking platforms is not enough. You have to enable the platform. Okay? I've seen multiple examples of organizations just having a social networking platform, and they feel that okay, work is done. And when the employees don't adopt, they say that KM is not working. It's actually they are not putting effort in enabling this platform. You're not only licensing that platform, but you have to enable it. What do you mean by enable? I come to this platform, I have some doubt or clarification, I'm looking for an expert working in this area, I don't find it, I will not come next time. I have a question, I use the platform to ask a question, I don't get a response, I will not come here. So you have to enable. So that is what I was saying. The organizations who were intelligent enough, the KM teams were intelligent enough to enable that platform, saw that, the real found that as they moved work online, this platform is actually the savior, because it is enabling employees to get their information, knowledge deficiency answered or addressed through this platform. And similarly, work collaboration platforms. I've seen a lot of examples of Microsoft Teams, the way organizations are working, or using or Slack. We recently there were a lot of news coming that because of COVID, the usage of Slack and Microsoft Team has gone up drastically. But I'm sure when they talk about the usage that has gone up, it will be most probably with respect to using the chats and the call features. Okay, but the requirements are much higher in these cases, where the entire work collaboration or coordination can be done in a very vibrant, I will not say vibrant, comprehensive manner through these platforms. And for that, you have to enable the platform. There has to be culture change that happens, where employees are easily able to use this platform to get the work done. What is the cross section between IT team and KM team at this period? Okay, so see, when we talk about cross section of IT team and KM team, let me try to answer your question. See, basically, IT team looks only from an IT perspective. Okay, and so you will not have a KM person talking about how the platform has to be used and enabled, and that is where the KM team comes into the picture. So I've seen, I'll give you a very interesting example. In one of the companies that I was working, we had a social networking platform where we were using SharePoint, and in SharePoint we had Citrion plugins and all that we are using. In an amazing platform, we built a lot of customization, and it was working wonderfully well. And then I don't know if there was some change or some new CIO came, or some business decision was taken. They decided that no, we will not go ahead with this, and we'll go move to some other social networking platform. Right? Their only reason to take that decision was the cost part. But what they didn't realize is that this is the heart of the organization, or the pulse of the organization was running through the existing social networking platform that was built. Okay, so you need to, when you have an IT team, the KM team has to work very closely with them to do that. So this, in a nutshell, my dear friends, is what is required to move your work. And with COVID coming into the picture, this is something that is becoming more and more important. KM is becoming extremely important. I am trying. What I'm telling you is seize this opportunity. If you're a KM practitioner, enable your platform and help the organization get the most out of the platforms now. I'll dig a bit more deeper into some of the aspects that is happening now, changing the kind of changes that is happening, or something that you have to start adopting. Okay, work assignments or coordination of work has to be moved to channels like Jira, Microsoft Team channels, and all that, or Slack kind of platforms and all that, because this and it's not only that it has to be moved there, but also ensure that you enable those platforms. Okay, now gone are the days where a manager can assign work through emails to multiple people. No, you need to have all the information or knowledge, information rather, of what is the work, then what is the progress available, so that everyone can see what is happening. As the work becomes complex, we all want to know what is happening, and we should be exposed to that. Accessing information, knowledge, and building communities. Okay, this is another piece that we need to look for. I've already talked about this, and again, I'm telling you, what is more important here is enabling the platform. Having a Yammer or a Facebook Workplace or any of these other platforms is not enough. You have to enable that. You have to build a culture where people are comfortable to come to this platform, as well as the leadership teams and all that participates in this. Now, interestingly, what is happening is that there is the physical space as a concept will slowly go off. You must have seen already many organizations talking about moving work to home on a permanent basis. So your physical space as a concept will go off shortly. Okay, organizations will be more virtual. Okay, and this is where also your Yammer and your communities and all these things will be where all your interactions, communications, all this happen. The organization will be seen from that perspective. Your culture building, everything will happen mostly from this platform. And this is something the leadership team should be also be aware of, so that they can actually start embracing this platform the way it should be. Project and organizing information dissemination, obviously it has to happen through Microsoft Team kind of platforms and all that. Or the examples I'm giving you from a Microsoft Team perspective, this is but relevant for Slack, platforms like Slack also, where we need to ensure that all the information is easily available. Okay, and before I go to this slide, I would also like to tell one more thing. When we talk about knowledge management, please keep in mind it is not only knowledge, but it is also information management. Because as knowledge management practitioners, we are enabling both of these things. When you're enabling a culture of sharing and collaboration, you're also promoting sharing of information also. An employee, when I said the employee spends 33% of their time in looking for support from other people, he or she is looking for both information and knowledge. It's not only knowledge that they're looking for. So be aware of that when you're in an organization. Your focus should be both on information and knowledge. This is what would be the roles and responsibilities of a project manager. I will come to the some of the questions in the chat. I will just finish these slides and I'll come to that. Okay, so the roles and responsibilities of manager, as you can see in the slide, managers play a critical role in ensuring that they mature the online platforms, they mature the KM platforms, and they play critical role. What I've seen and what many studies have shown is that the failure of KM happens, as well as the social networking platforms happen, because there is no adoption from the leadership team. Only when the leadership team starts adopting the platform, you will see a lot of maturity getting built in this platform, people coming and traffic increasing. In the couple of organizations that we work with, we emphasize the importance to the leadership team, and where we worked on a regular basis to ensure that the leadership team is present and the people see that the leaders are using these platforms extensively. Only when they do, these things, rest of the people folks will follow. So the leadership team plays a major role in ensuring that these platforms, the online platforms, are adopted. Okay, so this is interesting. A few, I picked a few sentences from a Deloitte report. What they talk about is digital workplace encompasses all technologies people use to get work done in today's workplace. Okay, and it ranges from HR applications and core business applications to email, instant messaging, enterprise media tools, and virtual meeting tools. Okay, now this is what is called as digital workplace. This is already available, and they also said that this kind. So what they said is that this kind of a system is already available. Okay, we already have a digital workplace built. What is missing? If you must have noticed when I was talking, what is missing is enablement of this platform, which is completely missed out. And that is where KM is also getting defeated to a large extent, because we have not enabled this platform to do what it has been brought to do. Okay. So that piece was missing. So I'm just adding here. This is very important. You have to enable the platform. Technology is 20% only, not even 20%, less than that. What the rest of the 80% is enablement, because you are building a organization around your virtual platforms. So let me finish with a few questions here, points to ponder upon. Is my IT platform able to provide all services that the physical platform provides? So when I say IT platform, the virtual spaces, can it provide all the services that my physical platform is providing? Think about it. Are the employees mature enough to work in a virtual environment? You have the virtual spaces, everything, but are the employees able to use it? Okay, are the employees, what is the level of information? Just go back and test. If you can run a test now, go and run a test in the next 1 week, find out what is the information knowledge deficiency of your employees currently. Okay, is there a social isolation? I will seriously ask you to do this. This will be a very interesting finding for you. Do a test across all the employees. What is their information knowledge deficiency? Okay, and use that report, send it to your management team and tell them that why they're suffering is because the KM platform has to be mature, and get support for that. Okay, so this is what I wanted to do. These are my credentials. You can write to me, you can talk to me, and I can, any questions you have, you can send it to me. Similarly, if you want to build that, I do an assessment also, you can write to me, we can have a discussion on that. So Eric, I'm done with my slides. Eric, you can take questions.
Thank you, Dr. Rayner. Do you see the Q&A box? And I want to just make sure, if you still have a few minutes, if we can address one or two of those. Looks like a few questions have popped up.
Yeah, I'll read that. Yeah.
Okay, great.
I will just go through that. There are two questions. For people who work in Nigeria and most of sub-Saharan Africa, internet access is a challenge. I'm seeing mails, calls, chats to be used as emergency. Emergency is our normal reality. Okay. Yeah, I got that.
And are you able to look at the separate from the...
Yeah, I had, okay, what elements define an organic KM system that allows, what elements define an organic KM system that allows the open transfer of knowledge, even work from home? So this, I think I've covered. See, there is nothing called as organic KM system. There is a KM system, and there is a culture and a way of working built around that. Okay. So, and all KM systems are enabling open transfer. Okay. So if you look into any of these content management system or social networking platforms and all that, they are built on Web 2.0 technologies that enable open transfer of communications and all that. So everything is available. The only thing is enabling that. Okay. I think, Eric, the questions that were asked responded.
Do you see separate from the chat box, there's a Q&A. I just want to see if you see the Q&A, questions and answers.
Yeah, I'm not, let me see. I'm not able to. Other than the chat box. Yeah. I got it. I saw that. I'll answer that one. Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you. Um, do you really think we are more effective working from home than in the office? Okay. This is an interesting question. Right now, no. Okay. Going forward, we will be. Why I'm saying that is because the technology keeps on evolving. We keep on adapting. Okay. So currently we are not effective working from home because our technologies have not matured. For example, you must have seen the way technologies tried to evolve, right? I mean, Zoom and all that, they have been kind of in an aggressive pace trying to become more and more user friendly and all that. Technology will evolve. Any technology you look into, when it was introduced, it was not that effective or efficient, but it kept on evolving. So currently we are not. In the long run, we will be. And why I'm saying that is, if this was not the case, we would not have such large organizations or work happening globally, right? I mean, you have a team. Currently, there are multiple examples of large teams sitting across different parts of the world and working together. So that kind of it is available. It just have to evolve. IT security is a big problem in the time of COVID. How can we convince our IT to open up instead of closing IT usage? See, this is something, okay, you do a study across and then you show them what is the requirement. You're not opening your complete IT, you're not opening to the public. Okay, it's already open, or whatever is required, you have already done it. Okay, so there is no security challenge that is coming from the existing system perspective itself. Okay, and if the IT team is worried about security, probably they are not aware that or they may not be that good with the job that they do, because there are no challenges from IT security perspective that is coming, because everything is within the intranet only. Okay, provided the kind of work being done is information knowledge has to go out. Okay, I'm taking from the Q&A part. At the end of the day, we are again stuck with leadership, be online or offline. So if CEO and director manager are simply continue behaving like, yes, just after doing Zoom or feels that everything has become new. See, this is you need to do a study. You need to show to them what is happening. Okay, and this is the time you can show it. What I'm trying to say is that before this, you had nothing to show. You just had to go and talk to them, and they were not listening. But now you can use your tools, or you can run a survey, and you can show to them what is the problem happening. So what I'm trying to say is that use this as an opportunity to drive KM and importance of KM, and they will listen, because they already are struggling because of the challenges. What is your experience in motivating organizations toward internal social networks to share information on it? Do these organizations provide the time to participate? What are your suggestions? Okay, so see, one important, as I've been telling you, you need to have a buy-in from the leadership team, and you get a buy-in from the leadership team by showing them what is the possible benefits. I've done in multiple organizations where it has to start. See, leadership team only looks into data; they only look into numbers. And if you don't talk in terms of number, if you don't quantify it and you talk qualitatively, they are not going to listen. You have to quantify, you have to show them in terms that they understand, cost, productivity. You have to show in those terms. And then they will understand, and then they will come with tag your line. And it doesn't stop there. You have to show your numbers on a regular basis. What is the improvement happening? And the other point that you said, provide the time to participate in these networks. I always felt this is a wrong notion that you have to put effort to do this. Will anyone ask someone to put effort or extra time to do KM? It's nothing like that. KM is part of the DNA of an organization. Knowledge management. When I have an information knowledge deficiency, I need to have support system to access that. For that, I may have to go to a repository. I have to talk to another person. We have to help them understand that this is the way things have to work. That is the way organizations have to work. And probably you need to have enough data to show to them and how things are happening. How about using online to connect with beneficiaries who are not even accustomed to using SMS on feature phones? Yeah, that's a challenge. I mean, again, it goes a long way of teaching them and making them aware of it. I mean, if your senior leadership or kind of old folks who are not able to understand, you'll have to spend extra time to make them understand, but teaching them is very important. I mean, see, basically, in the long run, you have to talk numbers. KM cannot survive if you don't talk numbers with respect to See, cost savings, productivity, revenue improvement. If you don't talk into those terms, you'll not be able to survive. In many development organizations, there is a conflict between M&E and KMD. Okay, M&E feel their work are being shifted to KM, so tug of war between. So M&E folks. So this is a question from Rezwan. Rezwan is from Bangladesh. Good connect. And he works in the development of the foundations. And M&E folks, monitoring and evaluation folks, work in the field. They go into the field and they find out how the implementation is happening. Okay. And then the KM team kind of takes up from them on the best practices and all that to share it across and all these things. Okay. Now, how the collaboration between M&D and KM can be ensured? Again, see, there are two aspects. There is one is program efficiency, and program efficiency to a large extent depends upon reuse of existing knowledge, continuous improvement, lessons learned, and all that. And the second part is social return on investment. Now, you need to talk in these two terms with these guys. And M&D, see, again, I'm telling you, M&D will be there. But when you start talking in numbers, then the leadership team is along with you. M&D will also come with you. This is my take. Probably we can discuss on this further. And I'll be happy to discuss on this because I'm kind of doing a bit more work post our discussion we had a few months back. Given post-COVID scenarios, advocacy with government is likely to suffer. How this can be overcome? Okay, this is a challenge. We'll talk about it. It's kind of outside of what I'm talking about, but we'll meet offline on then and we'll discuss on that. But this is post-COVID is going to be a big challenge for development sector overall across the world because funds are coming down. So how this can be overcome with government? I mean, advocacy with government has always been a challenge, and now with this, obviously, it is going to be a challenge further. We'll talk about it outside as well. Due to these conditions, so there's a question from Shashika. Due to these conditions going forward, and the richness of explicit knowledge may reduce. Correct me if I'm wrong. How I can overcome? See, explicit knowledge and tacit knowledge both are helpful. Okay. There is no impact on COVID and the explicit knowledge or tacit knowledge. As a matter of fact, it will go higher only. And as a knowledge manager, you should now focus on doing KM audit on a regular basis and close the gaps so that all the relevant knowledge, if you can be captured and made explicit, you should focus on. The relevance actually is increasing, Shashika. We did a survey and one of the findings is that employees were more productive but felt like they were missing out on discussion they had. Even when they were not necessarily, how can we deal with the feelings of fear of missing out? Okay, so fear of missing out, as I was talking about, is your informal network. You have to build your informal network. You have to gamify this entire thing. Your communities of practice, you have to add more communities of practice. You have to bring, see, fear of missing out majorly comes when your leadership team and your information about organizational development and nothing is coming on. Okay, we start fearing things when there is a information glut that is happening. We don't know what is happening. There is a lot of uncertainty. You focus on that as uncertainty, remove that uncertainty, ensure that your leadership team is talking on a regular basis, sharing information. Your informal networks are built on the online platform. Then this kind of fear of missing out will definitely go off. But I'm happy to hear that they're more productive and they're working from home. In my area, the major problem is regarding motivation toward virtual work. How to let the people to recognize the upcoming year of virtual work and motivate them to become trained in virtual. This has to be done through surveys and push from being motivated to work from home and forced to work from home. There is a difference. Okay, anyway we were forced to work from home. Do I have the motivation to work from home is a different thing, and that motivation is a combination of what the HR tries to do as well as what the KM person can do. So KM person can facilitate the HR by coming up, helping them use the social networking platforms to gamify it, come out with events and all that, or some other ways of working. Okay, so there are multiple interventions that you can do it from that perspective. Next question. It's a big problem to extract knowledge from workers. How is it home? How can we solve this problem? Okay. What I would say here is, don't worry, don't think of extracting knowledge from workers. This is a very wrong approach even before COVID also. There is nothing called as extracting knowledge from workers. You should always go from a KM audit perspective, look at the information knowledge required for the organization, capturing the information knowledge required, as well as build a culture of sharing and collaboration. The moment you build a culture of sharing and collaboration, it is a peer pressure that will happen. Okay, and that is how you will be able to do that. When people start moving to home also, when that culture is built, right, they will share anyway, irrespective whether they are at home or office or not. So it actually is a KM culture problem. Okay, because prior to this also that problem was there. That is what I'm trying to say. Another challenge is fear of accountability in virtual work. Is there any way to deal with it? I didn't get this question clearly. Fear of accountability. Okay, I would need more clarity in this area. I'm glad if you can reach out, or if you can type here, or we can have an offline chat on this. Okay. Any more questions, Eric? We have.
I think that's about it.
Okay. For ESN tools, what do you think is the best of breed today? Okay, I'll not. I've worked on Microsoft Teams, Slack, Facebook, and what I've heard is that HCL Connection was also a good platform, is what I heard. Though I've not worked on HCL Connection, but one of the subject matter experts was mentioning to me that HCL Connection is also a pretty good platform. But let me tell you one thing. Always keep in mind, technology is only 20%. However bad that platform is, or the number of features are on the lower side, if you enable that, then things will be great. Okay. Yeah, Eric.
Yeah, I think that's about it.
Yeah. So I'll stop sharing, and if you want to make any comments further, let me thank you, Eric, for this. This was wonderful. I just enjoyed the session. A lot of interesting questions also.
Thank you for your time today, Dr. Rayner. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We appreciate it, and hope to do another one soon.
Thank you, Eric, and thank you, everyone. It was nice talking to all of you. Have a nice day ahead.